Football fans across the continent held their breath this week for the draw of the 2022 Africa Cup of Nations. Held in the capital of host nation Cameroon, the draw produced some ties to look forward to, including reigning champions Algeria versus Ivory Coast and Egypt against Nigeria.
I think we will have a beautiful Africa Cup of Nations, and it will be something Cameroon will be proud of, because after the frustration of the postponement of the Cup, they now have facilities worthy of a great football nation.
This brand new 60,000-seat stadium will see Cameroon take on Burkina Faso in the tournament's opening match in Yaoundé on January the 9th. The draw was kind to Cameroon, who are hosting the event after a tough few years. They were originally meant to host the 2019 event, but the Confederation of African Football eventually moved it to Egypt after judging that Cameroon would not be ready on time. The COVID-19 pandemic then delayed Cameroon's turn again, forcing a one-year postponement to 2022.
The Cup of Nations is an activity of sovereignty, international influence and prestige of the Cameroonian state. That is why the government has invested considerable resources.
But will these investments benefit the Cameroonian people? Investigative journalist Dimitri Mabenga, who is looking into government misspending, is sceptical.
It is true that it provides us with infrastructure, but it bleeds the Cameroonian taxpayer. You've got a stadium with an initial cost of 163 billion CFA francs, and the president agrees to spend 55 billion more, without justifying why the extra cost has been added.
The opposition also denounces the vicious debt the country now faces. But the tourism sector believes the competition will boost the economy. The industry suffered with attacks by terrorist group Boko Haram in the north, separatist conflict in the English-speaking regions, and lastly, the pandemic. In this craft market of Douala, the mood is optimistic.
We think it will really change a lot of things. That's what we expect from the CAN. That's our leitmotif right now. So we expect the CAN to bring in tourists, supporters, antique dealers, and art lovers.
For now, however, Cameroon is a massive construction site. The government has come under fire for the delays. 2 hotel parks and several roads are still not finished. Within the Olembe complex itself, only the stadium looks set to be ready in time.
My fellow citizens, citizens of Zambia, it is with great honor, humility, gratitude that I stand before you today to say change is here.
Veteran opposition leader Hakainde Hichilema has been elected president of Zambia on his 6th try. Hichilema won 1 million more votes than incumbent president Edgar Lungu, who promised to ensure a peaceful transition.
I want to thank you, Zambian people, for giving me a great opportunity to be your president. I will forever cherish and appreciate that authority you vested in me.
Often referred to as HH, Hichilema is popular among the youth who are dissatisfied with Lungu's running of the economy and hard-handedness. The 59-year-old spent 4 months in a maximum security jail in 2017. He had been arrested on treason charges for allegedly failing to pull over to give way to the presidential motorcade. Hichilema was born into a poor family, then worked his way up to become one of the country's wealthiest men, with business interests in finance, ranching, property, healthcare and tourism. This is the 3rd power change in Zambia in the last 30 years, marking the country as a beacon of democracy on a continent where many leaders cling to power for decades. Two months since Guinea announced the end of its Ebola epidemic, the deadly disease has re-emerged, this time in Ivory Coast. A young Guinean woman tested positive after travelling into the country by road and staying in this area of Abidjan. It is Ivory Coast's first recorded case since 1994. Authorities immediately began a vaccine rollout on Monday.
We started the vaccination yesterday, and within the next few days, we expect to reach 2,000 contact cases, including those who have traveled and have been in contact with other people.
Meanwhile, the World Health Organization is concerned by the apparition of the Marburg virus in Guinea. The deadly disease is related to Ebola, though it has no licensed vaccine or treatment. Authorities have identified more than 170 contacts of one fatal case.
With 240 kilometers of coastline, Cape Town is a prime example of an urban metropolis on the front line of the climate crisis. To combat rising sea levels on this beach, the city has installed sandbags. They protect the coastline and South Africa's economic interests.
The coastline contributes approximately 10% to Cape Town's annual GDP, so it's a significant contributor to Cape Town's economy, and it's for that reason that we need to look after it as far as possible.
In the Paris Agreement in 2015, the world committed to limiting global warming to 2 degrees Celsius, enough to slow down but not prevent its effects.
What's interesting for mid-century is not just sea level rise, but sea level rise plus, the average worst flood of the year, or plus the 100-year flood, because that's going to happen in some places. What does sea level rise plus a flood look like?
A worrying prospect for those who already live in flood-prone areas. Masifumelele is an informal settlement that is growing bigger by the day. Nokutula Ramba is one resident who has just put up a new house.
This is the room I've built for myself. You can take a look inside. This is a wetland, you see, and I don't have other place that I can build in, see.
The land is unsuitable for housing, and it is illegal to build there, yet thousands of people still do it, because there is nowhere else to go. This presents authorities with a conundrum. The city's current policy is to pull down newly built homes before anyone moves in. Ramba's new home is destroyed before her eyes. As the demolition team moves on, she will save what she can from the rubble and start over. Right now, not everyone is equally affected by flooding. A few hundred meters from Masifumelele, you'll find opulent homes overlooking Lake Michel. South Africa is one of the most unequal countries in the world. Communities like this one live worlds apart, but in a few years, the rising waters will reach the wealthy too.